Hi guys, it's Amy of Fame to Plan, and today I'm here with sticky note and writing utensils because it's all about the information today. So you probably read the title, but today I'm going to be describing in this video my method for basically handling paperwork, physical items, all the things, digital items, emails, all the things that basically come at me on a regular basis. And so this is my system for kind of filing and organizing my life. And we're going to, over the course of the year, kind of like break down some specific examples, but I'm really going to be talking about like how I deal with the general paperwork and general things that kind of enter my life. So my method is pretty simple. I use the acronym START. And so just to kind of get started, no pun intended there, I am going to just kind of write out some of these things. I'm a visual person, so I like to see it myself. So my method is, I like to call it the START method. And this is based on like several methods that are found on the internet, right? So I've seen, for example, the FAT method, which is file, act, and trash. I have seen the STAR method, which is, I think, scan, trash, archive, and respond. And there's some others. There's the RAF method. There's some other ones, right? But the one that I like to use is start, and I'm going to explain my process. Hopefully all of that's in frame. So hopefully that's all in frame and you can see that, but I'm going to explain like what these 5 things are. So again, I do this for any physical items or digital items, emails, paperwork, like presents, gifts, all the things that come up in my life. I use this method for it. I did shift it over just a little bit so that way it was in frame. And so this is going to be pretty simple. It's just me kind of talking and explaining out. I'll insert some B-roll footage, like just video of some of what this looks like in my actual space so you can kind of see this too. But the very first letter here is the S, and here what I'm doing is scanning. So I find this to be a lot more important for like if I haven't done it in a while, if I haven't organized or sorted my space in a while. This is really to like scan through just all the things that I have to try to find anything that is urgent. All right, and again, I find this to be more important if I haven't done it in a while. So, for example, if I haven't checked email in a while, it's really important for me to scan through all of the unread messages that I have just to see if there's anything urgent. Now, for me, urgent are all the things that are like going to be like maybe not as extreme as life or death, but certainly life or death situations. But really anything that if I didn't do it that day, if I didn't drop everything else and just focus on that one item, I would lose money or like lose a relationship. So I really classify urgent as something like super important, has to be done that day. And so just to start off with, like I do like to like scan through or like sort through everything that I have and just like very quickly look through everything to find like those urgent, for example, emails or like the mail that is like a posting for like a bill that I haven't paid in 3 months, that kind of thing, right? So anything urgent. And if I find something urgent, I will go ahead and drop everything else and just do it right away. So that is step number 1, scan. Okay, now the next letter here is T, and T stands for trash. Of course, I can break this down a little bit more, and so certainly I'm going to be using my trash can to throw away things that are trash, but I also, of course, have my setup for recycling, so I could recycle. Definitely my shredder, so I can shred, and then for non-paperwork, like actual physical items, gifts, things like that, I can donate. So T, although it stands for trash, encompasses all of these different things as well, right? And this T should be the vast majority of the things that I receive. So I don't tend to live a minimalist lifestyle, but especially for paperwork and emails, a lot of the things that I have coming, for example, through email, are just things that I can just throw away, like their newsletters, things like that. Also junk mail that come in my mailbox. They're things that I can trash, recycle, or shred like pretty much immediately. There's no need for me to like do anything with it except just to toss it. Okay, lost some footage there, but basically I'm holding a baby, a newborn now, and trying to do this. So here is A. Now A is the next step, and right here what we're gonna do is archive. So for here, I have in a previous video set up my home binder system or showed you the home binder system. So here, this is where I'm basically pulling aside any paperwork that doesn't require any kind of there's no task related to it. It's just something that I need for reference, and so I would archive it. So again, this is going to be reference material, like important documents, right? And then pretty much anything that I want to save that could be like sentimental or like keepsakes. An example here, since I am a planner, is like I like to save my old planner pages. So these are things I just want to save. They're not necessarily important documents, but they're just something I want to keep pretty much forever. And so this would be in the archive. There's not any task that's associated with it, but it's something I just want to keep. One last thing that I will put in here, and it's for me part of archive, is that I do like to scan. Now scan here is different from the scan. This is actually literally scanning it using a scanner and saving it as a digital file. And so that way, if I can scan it, then I can actually go back and for the physical document, at least trash it. And so scanning is of course something just for paperwork. It's not going to be for like the physical items that I have, although I do sometimes, in terms of archiving, I will sometimes take a photo of it, right? So I'll scan it or take a picture of it. And so those things can be part of the archiving, and then I can get rid of the sentimental item, like the actual physical object itself. So this is a really good way of doing it. For example, for like craft projects that a child has brought home from school that might not be something that you can scan, but it is big enough that it takes up space, and especially if they bring items all the time, that can definitely take up space. So taking a picture of it and saving it on your phone or in a file of just their artwork is a good way of archiving it and having a digital copy without needing to like save the physical item. All right, so we've made it through scanning to make sure that we respond to or deal with like the most urgent items. Then we've gotten rid of all the things that we're just not wanting to do anything with. We're just going to toss it right away. And then we have gotten rid of all the things that don't require any action, but we want to save in some form. And then we're here at the R and the T. Now these two work in tandem with each other, but I like to separate them out a little bit. So the R right here is going to be respond, right? And here for respond, these are the things that require a task, and those tasks are going to be immediate, or I like to describe it as like within the week. So immediate, but not so urgent that it needs to be responded to that day. It could be something that I handle like at end of day, or like within the next couple of days, or within the week. All right, one of the main systems that I have here, and I'll break this down in a separate video, is what I describe as the inbox. And so there is a separate spot where I put things that I need to respond to, again, like immediately, quote unquote immediately, within a couple of days or a week, but I don't necessarily have to respond to it with like urgency. It doesn't have to be done that day. And so this does apply to a physical inbox. I have, again, I'll break this out in a separate video, but I do have a physical inbox, my email inbox, and then of course an inbox at work. And I try to keep it to just those three, although there are certain other areas. Again, I'll break this out in a separate video related to inboxing. But these are all the things that require a response from me. I need to handle it within a like fairly like immediate, quote unquote immediate time frame, but it doesn't have to be like urgent enough that I have to handle it like right away. Okay, and then this last one is the T, and then right here it is going to be related to respond, but it is what I describe as my tickle. And so tickle is something that I have to respond to. It is something, again, that has a task associated with it, but it's not going to be something that's immediate, like that's within a week. It's going to be something that's what I consider more long term. It could be something for a couple of weeks or a couple of months from now. And so I will have what I set up as a tickler file, right? And so again, I have like a video that I do need to update, but I do talk about my tickler file in my home binder system video, which I just posted. But I also have a very old video setting up a tickler file, but I'll record a video talking specifically about my updated system and how it works for both paperwork, physical things, and of course like how I set it up for email too. And so these will be upcoming videos, these two that I circled here. But this tickle is going to be any task, things that I have to do something with, but it's not something I have to make a decision within a week about, or do something about within a week. It's something I need to save for longer term. So examples of this would be like I, for example, might now that it's January, have made a list of all the things that people told me this past Christmas that they wanted to have, but it's not something that I need to go out and buy right this second. It's going to be for next Christmas, which is like 12 months from now. And so it's something long term. I need to have a place to kind of hold it, which will be the tickler file, but it's not something that I need to like do right within the week, right? And so these two things are task oriented, things I need to do personally, but this one is more immediate. This is going to be more long term. And of course, this one is going to be all the things that I have already set aside and done before I went through the rest of this process. And so this is my process. Again, it is the START method. Here, we're starting with scanning and pulling out all the things that are urgent and just going ahead and doing that. For everything else, I will make a decision whether it goes in T, A, R, or T. So it could go into the trash, it can go into my archive, it can go into my respond file, which is my inbox, or it can go into my tickle file, which is going to be my tickler file. And so that is my method. Now, I'm not going to record any additional videos in the next couple of days at least, because I do want to include some beef footage here to show you that one of the tasks that I think is really important as we go through this process, or at least as I go through this process, is I want to take at least the next week to try to go through this and refine this in case there's something that I need to add or change about this. So I'll maybe need to update this this method, but I am going to do this, and I challenge you to do the same thing. It is going to be where I'm going through my space and finding anything that requires an action from me. So that could be paperwork, it could be like a physical thing that I need to do. I have several items, for example, like Sophia brings me things that she wants me to hot glue or like fix or like sew, and I'm going to put that all into an area. And so I'm going to go ahead and include some footage of like all the tasks that I've already included or like compiled together and put together in a spot. I challenge you to do the same. First of all, gather all your paperwork from all the different places, but also gather all the physical things that have a task related to it. Instead of leaving it like in different spots everywhere, we're going to put it all in one spot. And I'm going to show you my spot. I call it my planner closet. It's basically a closet full of tasks for me to do. And so you'll see that in this footage right here. It's pretty messy, and please don't judge me. I mean, this is real life for me. And so I'm going to be spending the next week going through this method, the START method, to pull out anything urgent and just going ahead and doing that. But then for all the other items, I'm going to make a decision whether I need to trash it, archive it, respond to it right away, or put it into a tickler file to handle and deal with it long term. So hopefully this method makes sense. I'm very excited about like explaining my method, but also just kind of working through this, holding myself accountable for this process, and you know, trying to organize my life. Again, like that's my goal for 2023, is to have planner content, but also really to have home organization content on this channel, because I really need to emphasize that. It's really important for me to be organized, and so yeah, this is my process. I'll be working through this for the next week. I'll have a couple of other videos up, planner content up on the channel in the next couple of days as well. But for the time being, home organization will be at a standstill because I'm going to be doing this process, and again, challenging myself to gather all the task-based physical items and all my paperwork into one area. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.